Everybody, Mega Ruler 31 back here for FSI DFS. We have a monster 14 game slate for Friday, the 24th of June. Before we get started, I just remind everybody to look at DK Lobby there and their promotions. They have a 1 cent contest. I know the top prize is $20, and they're like, why you're worth playing. But I talked about it on Monday, and I built a lineup. And my lineup, if you're playing for the achievements, and one of them is like home runs, hits, and strikeouts, my lineup with the 150 for $1.50 had 1,050 home runs and 2,850 strikeouts in it between the two pitchers and the batting lineup. It has really boosted my achievements there. I played every day. Yesterday wasn't the greatest day because the late slate wasn't that great, but again, we have large slate today. So like I said, play in the cent contest, take the two pitchers with you think they're going to have the highest strikeout props, home run hunt with the bats. Don't try to stack or correlate or anything, and then just fill in with scrubs. Be okay losing the $1.50. And I was stupid in the contest actually, because I came in fourth with my 150. So I had like 4 through like 154. And I won like $4 from it. And I should have put it in like the dollar max or the $4 one, because I would have won a couple grand. So I learned my lesson there. In my scrub lineup, I'm always going to play in a little bit of bigger GPP just in case something like Monday happens again. But anyways, let's get on to today's slate. A couple weather concerns, LA and Atlanta, maybe a little bit of rain there. It's summer in Atlanta, pop-up showers all the time. And Colorado and Minnesota looks a little bit dicey. Other than that, I'm going to try to fly through these games because there's a lot to cover. Yankees and the Houston Astros. Yankees came back and won last night, looks like. So they're on a pretty hot streak here, but you got two different pitchers in Verlander and Severino. Very low totals for the bats. I think Verlander and Severino are okay in tournaments. I don't really love them, especially because the offenses can definitely produce here. Weather in New York City, 77 degrees, wind blowing in at like 8 miles per hour. So it is a hitter's park, but weather is kind of not neutralizing it, but not aiding it at all. So I think Yankees would be one of the top leverage stacks with just how hot they are if they can get to Verlander, and Houston and 150 max only. Boston Red Sox, Cleveland Guardians, Pivetta and Qualquetrell. Wind blowing in here a little bit, 79 degrees. So Pivetta has been very, very good recently. Cleveland doesn't strike out much, so that kind of puts them a little bit lower on the list of the higher price guys for me today. Quintrell, not interested in it at all. Boston, Control's been okay, so I think they're okay in a GPP stack, but I do like about 4 other teams better than them. Cleveland, if you're playing 150 max, so not super interested in this game on a 14-game slate. Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay, you have Mitch Keller and Jeffrey Springs. I think Springs is going to be one of the top mid-range pitchers on the slate. He's done well. I know Pittsburgh has gotten better recently, but they moved to Tampa Bay, which is, Pittsburgh's not a great hitting park either, but Tampa Bay isn't. So I think Springs will do very well here. Mitch Keller on the other side, Tampa Bay is still out. Their shortstop Franco and still out low. So 2 big bats still out of this lineup. Not great against right-handers. Don't have a ton of lefty power. So I think Keller's definitely in play here as a cheap pitcher also. If you're looking to save and get some bats in your lineup, Springs definitely green light there. Pittsburgh would be a leverage stack because I think Springs is going to be very popular in Tampa Bay. I think they definitely make a cheap stack here because you don't really have too many. I think there's only like 3 guys in Diaz, Choi, and Arizona who are actually over 4K. Next up, Dodgers and Braves. Could be a preview of the ALCS Championship Series coming up. Urias and Anderson, decent pitchers. I'm not super interested here on this slate, especially with the potential weather here. So not going to be using them. And I think both stacks just make kind of good GPP stacks if you want to stack them. And Dodgers have a 4.99 total against Anderson, which I think is a little bit high. Braves, like Acuna didn't play yesterday. If he's back in, I think that's better. But they're usually good against left-handed pitching. Urias has been decent, so I don't know what's going to happen this game. But again, don't feel safe on pitchers at all, especially with the weather forecast. And I think you just want to stack these, not take one off some in GPPs. Nationals and Texas, Paulo Espinino and Dale Dunning. Espinino hasn't been horrible recently. He was a reliever. He came out and he actually pitched like 88 pitches last time, so he's getting stretched out there. Texas can be hot or cold. They have a 5.10 total right now, which is rather high. But I think if you want to get sneaky and take Espinino as a dart, I think he's decent. Dunning on the other side, he's been okay at points this season, but just his recent form hasn't been great at all. So I think he's a fade for me here. Just looking at his last couple of games, like he did decent versus Houston, but he struggled against Detroit and Houston. And Cleveland had negative numbers. Against Oakland, he only put up 9.2. So I'm off of Dunning here. Bat wise, I think Washington makes a really nice cheap stack against Dunning, especially with his current struggles. And I think Texas, if you don't trust Espinino, would probably be my fifth favorite offensive stack today. Rockies and Twins, looks like there's going to be about 60-70% chance of rain during this one, so I don't know if they get it in. Marquez and Bundy, not interested in him. Maybe Bundy is a mid-range pitcher. He's been decent in the Colorado's been horrible recently on the road, especially against right-handed pitching, so I think he's in consideration. Minnesota would be the top stack on the night if this plays, because Marquez is just super struggled this year. So disappointed. I thought he could potentially, be a Cy Young candidate. I was hoping he maybe got traded out of Colorado, but he can't pitch on the road either. So I don't know what happened with him. Colorado, no interest in bats. And like I said, Minnesota's the top stack if they play the game. Oakland and Kansas City, Cole Irvin and Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke is just a pitch to contact guy now. He's a fade for me, even against Oakland. Cole Irvin, a little bit interested in. He's been decent recently. Kansas City without Perez in the lineup. There's a bat out there. He's reasonably priced. He put up 20 points just recently against Kansas City, just faced them. So I know sometimes when you just face somebody, it's kind of a disadvantage because they've kind of seen your stuff. But he went 99 pitches, had 6 Ks, 1 earned run, 3 hits allowed, 2 walks. So it's a pretty good line there. So I think he'd be my second favorite cheap pitcher of the night. Like I said, not playing Greinke. Oakland, I think, makes a phenomenal cheap stack, especially if you're trying to get a higher price pitcher in and some decent bats in. Kansas City has like a super high total, well, not super high, but like 4-5 is pretty high for them. But I think they're just 150 max one. I think Irvin will be able to shut them down again. Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers, Manoah against Hauser. Manoah's a really good pitcher. Brewers are hot or cold. It depends on which team shows up. It's in Milwaukee here, but they only have 3.8 total. So I think Manoah would be probably my third favorite pitcher on the slate. Maybe my second one over Verlander, who's got the Yankees. So I think definitely he might be my number 2 pay up option here. Hauser, not interested in just with his current form, especially against these Blue Jays. They crush left-handed pitching, but they're not bad against right-handed pitching too. I have to see if Springer's still out of the lineup there. Espinino leading off might be a decent mid-range value there. So Toronto, again, I think just a GPP stack here, and Milwaukee, I think it'd be a leverage stack if a lot of people play Manoah. The Orioles and the White Sox, I've seen Bradish, I've seen Voth. Neither one of them interests me at all, so I'm not playing them. And Kopech on the other side is definitely a decent mid-range play, probably my second favorite one behind Springs. White Sox are super cheap here. They're only 2 guys over 4K, so I love them if you can stack them. Again, lots of cheap pieces here to fit in with your primary stack. Baltimore on the other side, I don't have any interest here today against Kopech. Cubs and Cardinals, we have Kendricks against Palante. Palante was okay in his first couple of starts, but the Cubs have been better recently, so it's going to be pretty warm here. So I'm not interested in Palante, not going super deep into games either. Kyle Hendricks is just a good real life pitcher, but horrible for DFS. And Cardinals have really been heating up recently. So I think St. Louis is probably my fourth favorite stack on the day. The Cubs are definitely still cheap. So if you want to take them against this young pitcher, I could completely understand it. But I think, I definitely like the White Sox, Tampa Bay, Oakland, and Washington a little bit more than them. Seattle and Los Angeles Angels. You have Flexen against Lorenzo. Flexen, no way, not interested. He can be a little bit reverse blitzy, and with these right-handed power bats on the Angels, not gonna be playing him. Lorenzen just gave up 7 runs to Seattle, so everybody's probably going to automatically cross him off. But I think that he's definitely a play in the mid-range and might be a very, very sneaky play tonight because he has been so good at home. I think he's only given up like 9 or 10 runs for the whole season here, and he's got very, very good numbers against the opponents that are coming in. But on the road, he just I don't know what it is. But I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but I just know that I really like him here against Seattle if you're looking for like a sneaky play. For Seattle bats, I think they're only 150 max, and I think against Flexen that the Angels are probably going to become the top stack on the slate if Minnesota doesn't play. Detroit and Arizona, you have Ron Garcia and Merrill Kelly. Ron Garcia is not bad, but I think you can play him as a mid-range pitcher. Merrill Kelly, I really like here. It's a right-handed pitcher against Detroit, so top cheap option on the stack on the slate here at 7-9. Detroit, I think you play as a leverage stack if Kelly's going to have some ownership at his price tag and with his matchup. Arizona, I think, is a really, really good stack here against Garcia too. They've got a really high total at 474, so it's one of the top totals on the slate. Philadelphia at the Padres, really, really low total here at 7. Philadelphia has a 366 total. Gore and the Padres have a 334. So Gore is a very good young pitcher, but I don't know about against Philly here if I really want to play him. I know Philly's probably better against right-handed pitching with like some of their lefty bats, but Harper can hit either one. So I'm going to put Gore in the no interest category here at 9-1 today. Nola, I think, is probably the top pitcher on the slate here against San Diego. They've been striking out recently. They've lost Machado out of the lineup. He's still day-to-day. I don't think he'll be back. We haven't seen Tatis back at all either. And Cronenworth is cooled off a little bit. So I just really don't see a ton of like offensive power here. So I think, and it's not a super great ballpark either. So I think, Nola's great there. And Gore, I said, not interested in 9-1 for him. Finally, we have Cincinnati and San Francisco in San Francisco. 56 degrees here, so it's going to be pretty cool. You have Graham Ashcraft and Alex Cobb. Ashcraft, I'm just out on him. No interest here. His pricing at 74 is not bad, but he's only put up 1.3 and 1 DK points in his last 2 games. I mean, he had came off a couple 20-point games there, but San Francisco's decent. He did face him early in the season already, so I've already seen him once. He had 1 strikeout and put up 6.7 DK points. He went 6.1 innings. So, I mean, there's some potential there, but San Francisco mixes and matches so well. I love the lefty bats here against him. Alex Cobb on the other side, I think, is a good play also. I like Springs and Kopech a little bit better in their matchup, but Cincinnati's kind of like started to fizzle again here after having like a mini renaissance. They're like kind of back to where they were earlier point in the season, where they were looking really, really bad. Not historically bad, but still not as good recently. So play Cobb here, play San Francisco. I think they're probably my 3rd favorite GPP stack. And the reason they got to keep on being GPP is just because the mixing and matching, you don't always get full at bats out of all the players. So let's look at some lineup breakdowns and quickly get you onto your day. As soon as I can get the thing to open up and reveal itself. There we go. Okay, so up top, I'm either going to pay down for 2. I'm going to go Springs and Kelly, so mid-range and cheap, or I'm going to go up to Nola. I want to stack the White Sox and Angels here because I don't think Minnesota is going to play. If Minnesota does play, I will take them over the Angels. So you're looking at Springs there. Either catcher for Minnesota or for the White Sox or the Angels are very cheap, like low 2Ks. Either one, plug in there. Go Ohtani there. Second base, I'm probably gonna have to punt that. I really don't like the options unless Harrison's back in. He's day-to-day for the White Sox. Berger there. You can also go Duffy if you need some savings. I guess you go Refero at second base also for the Angels. Anderson, Trout, Vaughn, if you can get up to him. Sheets is back and should be batting 6th or 7th in his minimum price. And then round out the stack with another, if you can get Ward in there, might be too expensive to do that, or another Chicago White Sox like Pollock or somebody in the outfield. For FanDuel, I couldn't get the White Sox in. They're too expensive. I do want like Ward, Ohtani, Trout. Duffy is like first, second, and third base eligible here, so you can fill him in. But I really like taking Oakland, Brown, Kemp. Think I'm gonna probably try to get a full Oakland stack in there with the Angels again. I will play Minnesota over the Angels, and then I'll probably be able to get the White Sox in cash if that game plays. So for GPP, Manoah or Pivetta up top there with Lorenzen. I think I'm going to try the sneaky play there. And then I want St. Louis, Goldsmith, Gorman, Arenado, Edmonds, and then I'm going to fill in with probably Arizona bats. If I can't get a full Arizona stack in there, then I will probably take a one-off there. But those are the teams I'm looking at for that build. And then this should be Springs, not Spring. So I'm taking him as my pitcher here. If you want to pay up more, then that's fine, because with the Chicago guys, depending on who you play, it might be able to give you some more cash in your build to spend up. So Goldie, Edmund, or Gorman, whoever you want there. You can probably take the other one, Utility, Arenado, Anderson. El Rob, I don't know if he's going to play. I think he's day-to-day. Vaughn, Pollock, like say if you want to take a punt, put Sheets in there, is probably like really close to minimum also. Play him in the utility or another spot, then that's the build. So that's what we're looking for. Again, put any comments below if you have any questions. Check back in around 6:30 or so. It might be a little bit tight today. I'll have to see if McKinley can throw some notes in there, because we have the NASCAR truck race at 8 o'clock and qualifying is like right before that. So it's going to be a very, very intense time trying to drive home from work, get home around 6 o'clock, and try to figure out Major League Baseball and NASCAR simultaneously. So looking for that fun challenge. But still, leave comments below. We'll try to get back to you with answer your questions. Hit me up at MegaWeaver31 on Twitter. For more information about FSI DFS, you can check out the description of the video. All the information is there. So good luck in your contest tonight, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, share with a friend, subscribe to our channel so you know when the videos are coming out, and have a good weekend.